small video which is give us the information about the Sage family. So I again welcome Mr. Vinod, and I request you all, if you have any kind of query or any kind of question in your mind, you can ask in your in chat box. We'll try to give your answers after the presentation or discussions. Sir, mic is yours.
Hey, I welcome all SIRT students for this Career in Programming webinar, and I thank Sarvesh and on behalf of Sagar Institute of Technology. And I think so. This topic about career in programming actually it is very vital for especially for means people who has this is pretty much in line with our company, because our company is actually a core company where we actually we want students who are actually very much interested in developing the programs and stuffs. And in fact we have a few of the Sagar means students working here. Actually they are doing pretty good, and I think during our placement also, like we the placement unit that okay it is very important to basically make the students focus on programming and then on the labs and sort of things. So I think so I've just prepared a basically it's a vast topic, but I try to cover up the important aspects of it in through my slides. So without diluting the time, I'll just take you to my PPT. So take up some questionnaire towards the end of this session, so if time permits, or even if you have questions, I think you can share with me anytime post this session also, so we'll be able to answer you back through email or whatever. Okay. And so I think this is the first session for means from VIT, the webinar. So I think we will continue to engage in this mode, because in this COVID situation basically connect. So I think we will just keep doing things like this, which will definitely help students as well as it helps our company also, because we keep coming every year to recruit the bright students from your institute. So I think it plays a vital importance for our company also. So let me just give a brief intro about myself. I'm into software career for almost 16 years. I started my career as a software engineer trainee, and then I think year by year, then I moved to software engineer, then to a senior developer, then to a tech lead, then architect, and fine. Right now, actually, I'm working as a senior manager in VIT Infotech. So basically, it is a long and lengthy career. So let's start. So let me share. I think I just have to do some settings. I'm okay. Just give a minute. I think my laptop has some settings which is actually blocking me to share. So, are you guys able to see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So let me just yeah. So let me start the career in programming. So before getting detailed into the career in programming, I just want to just give at high level what is basically the basic things that you may be knowing already, but I just want to touch base on some basic. I think all of you should be knowing what is program. Basically, it is a step-by-step instructions that tells computer on like what it has to do. Okay, so that is a program, and in order to write a program, so you need to know a programming language. So programming language is a basically a computer language where programmers use to develop some programs or a script. Basically it is a set of instructions which are actually given to a computer to programming languages. So I'm going to talk about that in detail in the upcoming slides. Then, so the important thing, that is the programmer or the developer. So you guys are the ones actually who are sitting on the other side. So the students. So you will be eventually becoming a programmer or a developer. So basically, so you're the person who designs and develops, and also you test the program basically to basically provide an output which is. So let me again cover this one in the future slides. So basically, it is basically an it's a process of programming. So it requires an expertise in many different subjects. So for example, you need to understand the domain. So for example, if you are basically developing a game, so you need to understand the gaming domain, and you need to understand what are algorithms. There are a lot of algorithms that are put in a program, of logics which you need to basically put into your code. Okay, so that's where, so it makes it more interesting. So basically it is a collective flavor where you will put your mind on domain, and you have to basically improvise on the algorithms that you know, and you have to improvise on the logics. So only then you basically become a good programmer. Okay, so the process involves is, so first of all you need to understand the problem. Okay, to provide, you have to come with a solution for the problem. Okay, so that requires a planning. Okay, so once you have a planning, then you basically convert it to a coding. So that is exactly called as programming. Okay, so because you need to write something which your computer understands. Okay, so there are a lot of languages that you can use, for example C++ and whatever. Okay, so then you have to test it and then basically document it to make it a good brief of the life cycle of programming. Okay, so let's now jump in to, okay, so let us cover this one. So career growth ladder. Okay, so being a programmer, so one will basically initially you start your career as a junior developer. Okay, where you will be basically doing some, you will be getting some training, and you will be developing some very minute program. You will basically take a part. So basically you start developing it, then you keep actually improvising yourself. So once you know, okay, the nooks and corners of programmer. Okay, so then you become a senior developer. So this, so between a junior developer and a senior developer, it is about like 3 to 5 years. So so when you become a senior developer, that's when you are actually a programmer. Okay, so it takes a quite. Okay, so then once you become a developer, then so there are certain things where you can take lead, and then you can basically, you will develop a module, and then you will also know a lot of algorithms within yourself. So you may have to discover some algorithms, some logics, new logics, all these things. So then once you reach a stage where you can basically architect a software, basically. So when somebody has in yourself, and then where you can contribute yourself for basically with your ideas. Okay, so that's when you become a tech lead or an architect. So next to that is basically you will become a senior architect. Then finally, like, so basically then you become a manager. Okay, so basically there are a lot of hierarchy in this career. So in some companies it varies, but in general, basically followed. Because in our company it is like we start with software engineer trainee, then you become a software engineer, then you become a senior software engineer, then you become a tech lead or an architect, then you become a project lead, then you become a project manager, then a senior manager. So this is the hierarchy. So basically, so but in general it all maps to the expertise that you gain, and the stuff that you have within yourself. To the next slide. So here, so what are the benefits of career in programming? So what are benefits you get when you are into a programming career? So one, the first and the very important thing is creativity. So basically, there is no limit of things that you can create when you become a programmer. Okay, because every day you keep getting new problems. So for that, we need to come with a new problem, new solutions. So you will be very creative through the end of your career. Okay, then your problem solving skills, so you will keep basically the problem solving skills. So whenever a problem comes, so you need to think on how to solve the problems, right? So that's when you basically improve your problem solving skills. Okay, so that is in basically proportionately matches your even life. Okay, so where you get into problems and then you come with some solutions. So what I'm talking about evolving skill set is, so you will basically start your career with a very maybe a basic language, for example C. Okay, so then you will go to a next technology. Okay, let me use C++. Then you basically you keep adapting yourself to a newer cutting edge technologies. So so that's when, like, so you get an opportunity to evolve yourself and adapt to the latest technologies. Okay, so that is basically the pick of the thing. So now people basically who were initially developing some applications, they basically promote themselves to developing an Android applications or iOS applications. So basically, when you are into a programming career, so you keep evolving yourself and based on the new need and the new technologies. And the most important thing is job opportunities. So once you are a good programmer, so you will get a job opportunities, because every company needs a programmer. Okay, so once you mold yourself as a programmer, so you are wanted in almost all the companies. So it's just that you have to match your skill set. So the companies will basically just procure you, means take you on board you. Okay, then high salary. So obviously, like in software where it is a demand in so obviously, like, you'll be paid a very good salary. And so as and when you improvise yourself and you get more experts, so your salary also doubles, triples. It all depends on, means, the way you are actually molding yourself and becoming. Okay, then another thing is you can work remotely in the sense, like, see, like in COVID situations where we are not allowed to come to office, so we all were working remotely. So it is, so you basically get new skill sets to develop. But so what is very very important is yourself. So your mind and your thoughts and what you think and how you develop. So we can, so that's how, so you can work remotely. Then you will have a very long career path. Okay, so you can see me myself. So I started my career 16 years ago. I'm still like, now when a new problem, say when we get a new project, right? So we again start from fresh structure. Okay, so we have to learn, okay, which technology we have to use in this, and okay, which algorithms has to be used for specific modules. And so our thinking and everything, it is still fresh. And so we still do a lot of new things. So that's what, so you guys are just beginning now, but you have a very you'll have a very long career once you're molding yourself as a programmer. Okay, okay, so let me take you to the next one. So next topic, so what are skills that are required to be a programmer? Okay, so the first thing, means, what is your college teaching you is the programming languages, the basics of computers or whatever. So your fundamentals, the basics, you have to lay the strong foundation. Okay, so where you need to learn the basics which are required. Okay, the next thing is the logical thinking, because this logical thinking is nothing but program is nothing but a lot of logics. Okay, so you have to solve problem using right logic and the right algorithm. Okay, so that's when it requires you to do logical thinking. So I think in during your college days, so you have to just there are some things which will help you to improve your logical thinking. You have to this is actually a continuous effort. Okay, so initially you'll start with something, then once you finish the first logic, so you should be able to wrap up and then come with the bigger logics. So take an example of chessboard. Okay, if you have to implement a chessboard, so first, so small logics, like you have to move a coin straight, then pawns. So basically when you combine the smaller logics, you will come with a bigger one. So that's how you ought to, it's basically a continuous effort. Okay, then strong attention to the details. So this is very important in, you have to first observe what the problem is. Okay, so only if you know what is the problem, only then you can come with a solution. Okay, otherwise if you don't understand the problem, it's very tough for you to come with a solution. Okay, so that's why you have to be very concentrative, and you have to build, basically, so you have to be very attentive to grab the details that are required. Okay, so basically the requirements gathering is somewhat tied to the all the requirements for building a software. Okay, either it is a game or it is some applications that you want to develop. The first and foremost thing is you have to first get all the requirements. Okay, then the next thing is analytical skills. Analytical skills, again, for an engineer it is very vital. Okay, because without analytical skills you cannot grow your career much. Okay, then creativity. So creativity, uh, this industry loves people who are very creative. Okay, so you should never stop being creative. So don't just stick to one particular thing, just keep being creative and float your ideas around. And then whenever you get an opportunity, you try to bring out your creativity and innovative thinking. Okay, then obviously you need strong communication skills, because people who okay, so we need to pick a common communication language, which is English. So you have to just make sure you are good in communication, because you when you start your career as a programmer, the first thing is you need to get the details from the other party, where you need to understand the requirements. Then you need to basically explain, means whenever required. So that's where the communication is very important. And I think you guys are already learning algorithms and data structures in your lab, but in your curriculum. But how important you are giving to that, I'm not sure. But it is very very vital for a programmer, because your software programs are nothing but all algorithms and data structures. Either you learned any linked list, or you learned any sorting algorithms. So everything is the basic for a program. So that's where you need to focus more. Most of the time you have to put a lot of focus on algorithms and data structures. Okay, so these are all the primary skill sets that are required for a programmer. So most of the things is with you. Okay, but it's all that you have to just make sure you focus on these important topics which you are lacking on, and then just fill in. Then I think you will become a very good programmer. Give you a brief about how one will become a better programmer. Okay, so I think every one of you have learned some algorithms or some data structures or some part of programming in your. But how will you become better? Okay, so the first thing is you have to practice your algorithms and data structures. So you are learning a lot of things in your curriculum. Okay, like data structures, taking like binary. You have to practice it. Okay, you have to practice it in the lab. You have to, whatever program is coming in your lab, you do it by yourself. Okay, so just use your mind and use your knowledge that you have gained. Okay, so you program it. Okay, so you learn all the basics algorithms and the basic data structures. Okay, so and then you execute yourself. You develop it and you program it, and you yourself execute it. So you are actually you are already like junior programmer. Okay, so I'm talking about the junior developer, right? That's the starting point of your career. So when you do it by yourself, you are already a junior programmer. Okay, then learn to be efficient. See, for what is important for a programmer, you need to write a program, and the program should be very efficient. Okay, so for example, for loop. But if you're writing, you can even write a program with multiple for loops, but you will still get the same result. But you have to be efficient in utilizing those loops and everything. So what you have to do is you have to learn from other people code to solve the common problems. See, for example, in GitHub is actually open repository where you will find a lot of open source projects, small projects. Career. So you have to keep looking into other people's code and learn yourself. You have to basically improve your techniques. So the logics that you'll put and the algorithms that you'll put, all these things you have to learn. Basically, you have to make it very efficient. So one of the thing is you can learn from the other program. Okay, so you will be coming across so many programs. So when you see other code, right, you observe it and try to take the required, so that will come out. Okay, this is the problem. Okay, I can solve like this. Okay, so basically there are some solutions already available for some common problems. So once you learn those things, right, so it is easy for you when you develop, right, so it is easy for you. Okay, then you participate in competitions such as like coding. There are a lot of competitions happening, right, in a symposium or sort of things. So you have to start basically you don't hesitate. Okay, like coding, debugging, or hacking, or gaming, whatever it is, just participate and contribute yourself. You need not worry about win. Okay, just just focus. Okay, the effort that you're putting in joining the competition, right, it will make you better. Okay, so that the next thing is keep exploring other languages to know new features and techniques. See, you may be knowing some languages like But additionally, what you have to do is whenever a new technology comes, you have to keep learning that new technology, because the new when a new language comes, it comes with new set of features. Okay, so technologies, uh, native programming languages has come. So to develop Android applications or iOS applications, so you may be knowing some scripting languages already. But when the new technology comes, if you start learning that, right, so then you'll automatically try to put those things into your existing skill set, and you'll be able to make a better program. Then build your own projects. Okay, last point that I've discussed. So you have to, so when it means now you're actually doing some minor projects, right? So you have to build very small projects. You keep doing small projects. So then you will get some confidence to basically build a bigger module. Okay, so this is the very important thing for a programmer, the practice. Okay, so you have to practice a lot of programs. Only then you'll gain a confidence to what you read in your theory, which is all in the books. Okay, so it is all applicable. Basically, only when you practice it comes to your skill set. Okay, otherwise it is always in the theory and you will never be able to express yourself as a programmer. Okay, so these are all the some points which will help you to become a better programmer. So then comes the type of developers. See, there are like are developers. Okay, but everybody works in a different ways. Okay, so these are all the various types of software developers. See, for the first one is a front end developer. So the front end developer is nothing but, so what you see in the web. Say for example, if you browse a website or if you browse any web applications, so what you see is all what a front end developer does. So there are a lot of programming languages and developer. So basically why I have listed this type of developer is, see, everybody will have a different skill sets and the different interesting points. Okay, so somebody would like to be a very good, means they want to be very deep into algorithms and they want to put their mind into a lot of scientific things, so they can be a data scientist. Or so that's why I put it like this. So let me just quickly brief you. They are all nothing but the programmers. Okay, so the first one is front end developers. The next is back end developer. So whatever you do in the front end, so if you type something, you submit a application, so it goes to the database at the back end. So all the back end code, is being developed by a backend developer. Okay. And mobile app developer, like mobile app developers are the ones who are actually developing the mobile apps available, basically, which these mobile app developers will be using. So I'll just brief you that in upcoming slides. Then a gaming developer, where what things are required to make you a gaming developer, and which languages you have to use for developing a games. And then an application developer, so you might have come across a lot of applications. So the Zoom applications, Teams applications. So how do we develop that applications? What languages can be used for developing such applications? Then a data scientist is actually a very booming thing now, where everyone's data is already in the internet. So the scientists are basically, they will analyze the data and they'll come up with some algorithms, and then bring up some ideas out of that. So that's a part of data scientist. It's a very good then QA and test developer. So this is very interesting area, where I would say it is not a very tedious one. But if there are people who are actually not very deep into computer science, or say for example, if the other mechanical engineer or anybody is there, if they want to basically become a programmer, so they should consider becoming a QA developer. So where you can learn very limited language, but you can get into the concepts. And basically the scope of learning is very less, but the scope of work is very more. So you can consider becoming a QA developer. So that is very, this has a very good scope. And again, algorithms developer. So algorithms developer is very interesting, because it is mainly for people who are very savvy on writing the programs, and the algorithms. So say for any path, okay, I want to go here, so it suggests you 2 3 paths, right? Then based on the traffic and so many things, so basically hell, a lot of algorithms are put into it. So somebody has to develop that algorithms, right? Say shortest path algorithm, you might have studied in your college, but developing it, so you have to, so that's where you have to basically this comes to picture. Okay, so you can be an algorithms developer. And embedded developer is like, you have any setup box. Inside setup box you have some programs running. So that is actually an embedded developer. So again, this also again requires very key skill sets. Like you have to be very strong in C, and then you have to be very picky on utilizing the data, because it is on the device, right? When it is running, it has very limited memory to run. Okay, so you have to be very efficient programmer, for this. Okay, so people who are really loving programs, so they will like embedded developer. Okay, then the OS developer. So OS developer is like, you all know, like everybody is using operating system, either it is an Android, iOS, or Windows. So somebody is developing it. Okay, so they are the OS developer. Okay, so then DevOps. So DevOps is actually it is a little bit in sync with the QA developer. So they are the ones who actually write some code to deploy it to the cloud. So if somebody makes a software, right? So the software has to reach all the customers. So you have to put the software, deploy the software into some cloud, or you have to deploy the software into some on-premise server. Okay, so the DevOps are the people who builds that infrastructure and develops the code and scripts to do that. Okay, then a language and compiler developer. So you might have seen a lot of C compilers and Python compilers. Okay, so somebody has developed it. So there are a set of people who work on this also. So these are all the developer options that you have when you become a developer, right? So these are all the, means everything that you see in software, it has to be developed by someone. So that's why I said it has a very long career growth. And it is very like, so every part of the system has to be developed. So you have to, whichever is of your interest, you have to pick that. Okay, choose the set of languages which, okay, so for example, if you take an embedded programming, you need C skills, C skills, C development. Okay, so you have to learn that language from the fundamentals, and you have to just start working on that. Then you will get into that domain. So somebody who is okay, I want to, I'm good. I means I like very fancy things. I want to see whatever so you can just develop some websites, and so that's what. So you have to choose your career. So there are a lot of options there. So once you join any software company, right, so then you will get to know, okay, which will suit you then, based on the domain and the technology that you are working. So you have to just mold yourself, and then you become a better developer on that. So now coming to the very important thing, which languages to choose in languages. Like almost like means I've just named very few here because I don't want to, means we'll not have time to go through everything. This is just, I'm just giving you a hint. Okay, that okay, people, okay, if you're choosing your career to be an application developer, so these are all the languages that you will be interested to go through. Okay, so for example, if you take an application and program development, so so you may have to learn C, uh, Java. Then there is a language called Swift. Okay, it is actually primarily for iOS and Mac users. Okay, that is a Swift language, and Visual Basic, I think you should all know. So it means I haven't categorized in detail, and this is only to basically give you an idea that, so based on your domain and the based on the what you want to do. Okay, so which language will suit you. So and you need not learn all the language language where you are very strong with. So for example, if you pick a Python, right, so you have to just pick the domains where you want to use the Python, and you have to learn all the features of the Python which will suit for that particular development. Okay, so the next thing is artificial intelligence development. So why this is very interesting point, because the current IT trend is on robotics automation. Okay, so where manual efforts are completely removed, and all these computer robots are kept in place. Okay, so robots in computer terminology is nothing but a software. Okay, so you run a software, basically it will sit in your desktop as a robot. Okay, you might have seen in banking domain also, or even in hospital websites. So there is some small chat box coming. Okay, so I am here to help you something, so it is a bot. It is will based on what you need, you may even speak to it, or you can just type what you want. So it will learn from, basically it will read from you. So it has done, it will basically do some artificial intelligence and machine learning. So based on your decision taken at one point, so it will basically add it to its database. So next time when you put another question, right, it had learned answer from somebody else, so it will come up with a better answer. So that's why this so the certain languages that can be used for artificial intelligence development is the machine learning program, AML. Then yeah, C is there almost everywhere. Okay, so C sharp. Then you have Prolog and Python. I think Python most of you must be learning now. So you guys should put more focus on learning the Python scripting, because Python is used in many developments. I mean, database development. So you all may be learning the basics of database. Okay, but there is actually a DB database development also, where set of people who basically develop some scripts, they who develop some SQL queries, which and for there is a programming called reporting. Okay, so whatever gets into database, so you have to analytics, it should come to the it every day, I think. Okay, the chart, okay, it is going up down, it is all data. Okay, nothing else is there. What is there in it is only data. So all the data are somewhere lying. Okay, and somebody is actually doing that analytics part, and basically that's where this database development comes. Okay, and yeah, so these are all certain languages that you can so few languages that you can focus on. So actually post this, maybe you can refer it for your future reference. And if you have any further questions, I think you can just put up together, and we can keep doing. So next is game development. So for game development, again, you need skills of these languages. So again, that's why I said like C is very vital. So that you are already learning in your college. You have to just make sure you learn it as much as possible. See, even when we come for interview to your college, right, our interview primarily focuses on C programming. Okay, so where we will give you some problems that we want you to basically write a program, and then basically come up with a small program. So that's how we basically judge your skills, what you have learned. Are you a good will you become a good programmer? Okay, so whatever you learn in your college, right, just you have to practice it. So okay, only if you practice, you will basically able to represent yourself. Okay, otherwise we will not know how you what you know. Okay, so the only way how we can find, okay, whether you are talented, well, you know, you have the right skill set. So you have to prove it, right? How will you prove it? So you have to just represent through a program or some algorithms that you are already aware of. Okay, so keep practicing. So you might have seen some driver programs, right? Like when you insert some dongle, okay, so it connects you. You'll be able to connect to Wi-Fi and all. So there is some hardware driver software is there. So that is all written using some assembly level coding or C programming. Okay, so if you are interested to be a driver developer, then you have to learn that. Then I think many people are interested in this because even in the college, I think it has become a habit that okay, let us develop a small web applications where okay, HRMS will do it, or we'll do some attendance systems or whatever. So so basically there is a lot of scope for this, because every company needs a web page, every company needs some kind of web applications. Okay, even though you have something in the mobile application also, but they also will come up with some web applications. So what is required for this is, yeah, HTML are all very basics. Then you need to know Java, especially the Spring and Spring Boot are the technologies which are primarily used for developing web applications on Java based. Then JavaScript, then Perl script, this Ruby on Rails is actually becoming very vital nowadays. So where a lot of people started using Ruby on Rails. So but I don't think you'll be studying in your curriculum, but you have to understand, because this you will learn once you get into any company. If you get a chance to work on that, so you will learn more. Then PHP, Python, and XML. Then obviously, yeah, script development is there everywhere. So there are a lot of languages which will help you to do script development, like Bash, Perl, Python, Tickle, and Bats and JavaScript. Okay, so there are top programming languages that are very important. Okay, so this is actually widely used in the industry now. In fact, even in our company, we have projects in almost all these languages that I have listed here. Okay, so if whatever language that is actually that you are there is a part of curriculum from this set, you should focus more, okay, on understanding it, and then learning its basic from the program, and then building a new means a bigger program. So these are all things you need to do. So one the few things are JavaScript, Java, Python, then PHP, C++, then C#.NET, the TypeScript. The TypeScripts are actually primarily used for mobile application development, then shell scripting, then C, and then Ruby. Okay, so yeah, I think so. These are all the of programming. Okay, so I've listed a few, but again, software is actually a ocean. Okay, so once you get in, only then you will get to know more things. So the idea that I'm trying to bring you here is, means you have to choose your career. Okay, then what is important in that career, you have to just pick it, and then you have to mold yourself. Okay, so now you being a student, right, so your primary goal should be to get into a program. Okay, so you have to develop the program. Okay, don't take it easily. Okay, if you're in a group, okay, in your college, say 3 person in one team, right? So you just make sure each one of you write your own program. Okay, then you compare with others. Just don't leave like, okay, one person will do, okay, we'll just copy that program. Okay, that will not work for you, because only when you write your own program you become a programmer. Okay, that guy is a programmer, but you're not a programmer. Okay, it becomes very tough for you. So that's why practicing is very, very vital for you. Okay, so I think with that, I'm concluding my session, because yeah, so this is again, it's a very vast topic, but I think we at this point I don't want to take you very deep into a lot of technologies. So I think, I hope you guys might have understood at top level, okay, what all career options are there, and what you have to learn yourself, and how you can make yourself better. Okay, so I think when we come for you next year for recruitment, I want you guys to basically be already a programmer. Okay, so it is easy for us to pick everyone and then onboard you into a software company. Okay, and yeah, with that I wind up my session. And if you have any questioner, I think what is it I if we have time, I think we can
Yes, we have a few queries with us.
sure, yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vinod. Such a beautiful presentation, and almost you cover every point. What is a what is the meaning of programming? What is a position in software industry? Scope of programming and languages, type of software developers, which language you have to choose, how to practice programs. Almost every part you students. I have a few questions in my chat box. First is by Mr. Sachin. In coming future, which language will be used in IT industry most?
Yeah, yeah. Actually, that's a good question, Sachin. And I think, see, like I said, the last slide about the important languages. Okay, so where Java and C#.NET are basically used. So if you see, like almost 30 percentage of software are being developed using Java, and another 35 are developed using C#. Okay, then the rest of the things are basically shared between. But coming to your specific question, if you are really loving to be very good, basically to a cutting edge so I would recommend you focus on mobile development, because recently the Android and iOS is being used by almost everyone in the world. Okay, so if you can, means I think my preference would be to focus more on the mobile technology, along with some artificial intelligence domain. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Can we handle? Can we take one more question? Some very interested question I have.
Yeah.
What practice to be done to start career in software industry if we have belongs to non IT branch?
Right. Yeah. Actually, I thought of adding one slide for non-IT people also, but then I was a little bit worried about the time constraint, so that's why I just removed the slide. But so basically, for non-IT people, right? The basics in C. I think definitely in the second year or something, you might be knowing some basic C. Okay, and if you think you are really a tech savvy guy, okay, so I would recommend you to just only C and C programming. Okay, just do C and C programming basics. So you might have learned linked list. You might have learned some or either a binary tree or some kind of deleting a node in a linked list. So you have to first build your basics. Okay, so before you can get into a software company, so company will not expect you to know everything. Okay, what is operating system, what how the kernel is running, all these things. So what we want is, okay, do you have the basic knowledge? Okay, so once you have a basic knowledge, right, then company will teach you all the things what teach you the basics. So company cannot take you if you don't know anything about computers basics, you don't know anything about what is a program. Okay, so if you have definitely done some program, some in your curriculum, maybe in second semester or third semester, about C or C++ or object oriented programming. Okay, just just learn that basics very strong. Okay, and practice some simple programs. There are companies where they don't go and bother you into very deep details. Okay, they will just ask you some ideas. Okay, for example, if you maybe like they will just ask